dinner?
I was meant to, but I wasn't feeling great today at all. I'm still not feeling great. So no, I did not have chicken. I was going to have a haggis supper. We're live anyway. We'll get to that. I was going to have a haggis supper because I usually do in Burns night, either haggis supper or just get haggis neeps and tatties. I think one year we had chicken Balmoral, but instead of black pudding, I put haggis in it. But no, did you have haggis? No, I like haggis.
No, I had that chicken curry for dinner tonight.
So two
It was
chickens.
nice.
Two chickens
Yeah.
don't make it right. Happy birthday, Robert Burns. If it indeed was your birthday, which I'm not sure. Do you know
Probably
what?
not.
So I was working out. Sorry, we're still in the green room, listeners. We'll get to the start of the show in a minute. So I was out working today at my mum and dad's, and when they get back, because they go out for the day, when they came back, my dad was like, "Right, do you want to run back in?" Because Tash had the car today for Leo. And I was like, yeah. He told me that Robert Burns apparently was only born, even though all you hear is Burns Cottage and Alloway is Robert Burns.
Yeah.
That's only where he was born. You know, most of his life he lived in Dumfries. I didn't know that. He's like, but it's not spoken about. But he goes, that's what it is. So I don't know if my dad just made up a dad fact there, but it might very well be true, because when you think of it, it does say the birthplace of Robert Burns. It doesn't say this is where he lived.
He's definitely correct with that. Yeah, that's definitely true.
Is it? Oh, well done, Dad. You didn't
Yeah.
lie to me in this one. You know what dads are like. No, not now. So I'm at the point, listeners and Andy, of my PC just saying I need Windows 11 every 2 seconds, and I forgot last week when I was playing something on PC last week. It died.
Oh,
And I was like, why is this died so fast? And then I realised, oh, I've not got it plugged in for one, and it's installing Windows 11. And now it's like, oh, good, you've downloaded it. It's time to install it. I'm going to install it now. And I'm like, don't install it just now. And it keeps saying, can we install it now? And I'm like, do you know what? I've got a feeling I'm going to install it. This is all going to mess up, and this might very well be the last show you ever hear from us. Oh, we'll find a way. But anyway, good evening and happy Robert Burns Day, listeners, and welcome to yet another 42 Level 1. I am one of your hosts, Alistair Kennedy, and here with me as always, oh my cough, the former Twilight Princess of all games, the current Twilight Princess of YouTube, the CEO of 42 Level 1, the man of many names, but I'm not giving you Xbox, the man of many names, but we just call him one, Andy.
the phlegm in the back of Ali's throat.
It's not a phlegm, it's a
Get out
dry
here.
cough,
Get
and
out
like I've got a sore back. So like today, my dad like
Oh,
no, it's not good. But like my dad's got one of these mini electric blanket things, you know, because when you're old you get sore backs a lot, and he sits behind him, and I lay in that for a while. And my mum this morning, sorry, we are going to get the show. She said, right, we're just nipping out, because every time I get there, they nip out and they don't come back till like 5 o'clock, so it's brilliant. I get peace and quiet in an empty house all day, so they're like, do you want anything? And I thought, you're just going round to the shop. Brilliant. Get me some Lemsip, Mum, or something, because I need to record today. They came back at 5 o'clock. There's your Lemsip. And I went, oh, just in time. Thank you. It did come in handy because I was feeling awful until I drank it. I don't know what
it's one of those things. It's one of those things that you don't think about when you're doing that type of work, like on camera. Like obviously with this, like we're not getting paid for this or anything. So like if we
you're
feel
not.
like shit, we just don't do it. Like, no, not for this.
You're not getting paid for this.
Like if we feel like shit, then we'll take the night off or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But like, say if you're like a YouTuber who is like, this
That's
is your job.
You've lost money. You've lost the shift.
Yeah, you'll lose. So you just make the video, because like I was watching.
You could lose subscribers as well.
You could, yeah. I was watching a channel called Auspex Tactics, and right, he basically does a lot of like 40k, like in Warhammer news and stuff. And like he did a video the other day, and he sounds like this in it, like, and you keep, like, he can still make out what he's saying, but like he sounds so ill. Like there's no way, like he should be taking the day off. But he still powers through, and he still puts his video out.
So
just because he can't take a sick day.
I can do it tomorrow. Like I can do my videos tomorrow. I did editing today instead, which, as you know, is a long process. Adding your music in, adding your titles in, adding your green screen, making sure the audio's all fine, your transitions are good, and that's what I did today. And it's fine, but there was no way I could do camera work today. Like I don't even look. Not that I'm the picture of health most of the time, but I was like this morning, so I was like, can't happen. And every so often I was like, my back, and I had to lie down. So there was no way I could have done on camera work. But anyway, yes, we're here. We've got, you might have seen from the title, Xbox rumours. I will say, it's probably true rumours. They have had rumours circulating that Xbox are working on a... Are you watching this video on another platform, Andy?
Another platform.
Yeah, I was getting an echo.
I've got it playing, but there's no
sound.
No sound.
So we heard on Xbox Era podcast that there's another remaster style collection coming from Xbox from one of their major franchises in the style of the Master Chief Collection. And I've got some thoughts on it, and I wanted to hear your thoughts on it. And we've also got to talk about EA's news today regarding their Star Wars franchise, but that can wait till later. So Xbox, Andy, this has been your second Xbox console after the One. Not yes, because you're the One S, but like it's your second Xbox generation. It's your first one, day one. It's the one I would argue you've played the most of already. Are there any franchises that you missed out on that you hope to see in this collection? Sorry.
So, as for Xbox,
I'm not getting paid for this. And I'm not getting paid.
So, I mean, there's a few like RPGs and stuff, but they're all backwards compatible already. So there's no reason to remaster them at all. And like there's already Alan Wake remastered out. I was kind of interested in that. I've not picked it up yet, but like I will at some point. Probably come to Game Pass. So is there anything I feel like I missed out on? No, because everything's backwards compatible. So like anything that I want to try, I can go and get it and try it.
Fair, but I know what you're
Fable,
like.
I didn't like it.
I know.
I played Gears of War, fine. I played through Halo 1, I didn't like it. So I've jumped into the Xbox at the exact right time for me, because all the games that they had before were not for me.
So, thanks for that. I personally, there's two options. There's an easy option and there's a likely option. So the easy option would obviously be to do it with Gears, because then you could translate the old maps and mix them with the new maps, a bit like what they did in the Master Chief Collection.
Okay, yeah.
Makes sense. And you've already got Gears 1 remastered in the Ultimate Edition. Gears 3 really needs little work. Gears 2 is the one that needs the most work. So if anything, they're basically doing, if they do the Gears of War games, all they would need to remaster really is Gears of War 2. You know, like they did with Master, because they had the Master Chief Collection and they already had Halo Anniversary out, which is the remake of Halo 1. Halo 2 wasn't remade until the Master Chief Collection. That's where you play Halo 2 Anniversary. So if they do Gears 2 Anniversary, throw it on this with 3 and 4, combine all the maps into playlists, shut down all the old servers on 360, and that solves some server issues. Like, because you obviously still pay for this server. It still is a wait, because there's still people playing Gears, the 360 versions. You've shut down the Halo servers recently, because why do you need them? So the obvious answer, the easy answer is Gears of War. And my justification behind it potentially being Gears of War is Gears 6 has clearly been delayed quite a bit, because there's not even been a mention of it. It will happen, but there's not a mention. And I think that's the smart thing to do with one of your flagship franchises. If it isn't ready, don't show it. It works for Nintendo, and it makes people want it more. So that by the time that you show anything, people are like, gimme, let me see. Like, when Metroid Prime 4 finally gets revealed, which I think we're going to see by the end of this year, although I've said that the past 2 years, like, it's 4 years since that game get restarted, and they've not shown anything. Not one bit. And it's because it's not ready to be shown. So I think doing that with Gears 6 is good, which then means that you've got a gap in the market for Gears, and there's a community, there's esports for Gears. So what better way to do it than remaster Gears 2, one of the best loved games in the franchise, package it all together 1 to 4, potentially with Judgment, a bit like they added in ODST and Reach's DLC, you know, $2.99 I think per game for the Master Chief Collection. Fine, do that. Then everybody can play all 4 original Gears games with the maps combined. You know, you jump map to map instead of having to go, okay, I'm playing Gears 1, I'll need to shut that, open this up. Okay, I'll play Gears 2. And I think that's a winner. But there's another one that's more likely, Andy, with a game that's probably going to see the light of day before Gears 6, in my opinion. And that's the Fable series. Now,
yeah,
Fable, I reckon Fable 4 is going to be out 2024. And we talked about this the other night, and my justification behind that is 2024 is the 20th anniversary of Halo. So why wouldn't you hold it off and polish it for a year to drop it on 20th anniversary. Here's Fable, the redo, the reboot, the prequel, whatever it's going to be, the sequel. And what better way to pave the way than do a Halo, Fable Fairy collection or whatever, Chicken Kicker collection, you know? Those games, more so than Gears, I would argue, need a control scheme overhaul for present day.
I can 100% agree with that, because I played Fable Anniversary and it's fucking terrible.
Like, I never played Fable 1 back in the day, or the Lost Chapters. I know Fable Anniversary is both, but they never updated enough for Anniversary. Like, the controls are still dated. I played Fable 2, but I played it when those controls were acceptable. Fable 3 I never really got into, but Fable 3, again, obviously it's the newer game. It hasn't aged as badly, to be fair. But if you put all them in fact, I would say borderline remake them, better graphics, better controls, that's likely to get excitement for Fable, because you don't need excitement for Gears 6 realistically. You don't. You can keep doing seasons in Gears 5, you've got your player base. But there's a generation of gamers that haven't even played Fable at this point that you want to buy the new Fable. Not just you, you're an old ass, but you know, like, there's a younger generation that they want gaming when Fable was a thing. When you think about it, there's a guy that's 18 just now who was born when Fable came out. He's never played Fable, really, unless he's like in his retro games. Yes, that's retro these days. So why not remake them all, generate the hype for the new Fable, and it keeps people talking. So what one do I think's... I know I said that one's likely, but now that I've said them both out loud, I think it's almost a no-brainer that they fire out Gears. I really do. It depends on how much money... I don't think Microsoft need to worry about money, personally. I think they would do projects of passion if they wanted. So if there's a team willing to make Fable...
Yeah, it just depends on, like, if and when they need that on Game Pass. No. Yeah. Just like if they've got a gap on Game Pass where they need like a third-person shooter game, we just throw together this Gears collection, we'll put it out in that month there, boom, done.
No, you're right.
Because they want to have one game a month, basically. Like that's.
Oh yeah. Like Nintendo did for the Switch for the first year and a half, like a good game a month. And it looks like this year we're going to get the same from Switch. It looks like we're getting like Pokemon, Kirby. I would imagine Splatoon 3, Bayonetta somewhere down the line. Like, it looks like we're going to have a good year this year for Switch. But I've got a feeling it's going to be the last hurrah for Switch, personally. This generation, anyway. But I could see both happening. I think Gears is the easy option. But I think those are the two strongest. I don't think Crackdown's big enough to warrant this. I think it's it's not.
Do you know, they could do both of those fucking franchises. They could do Gears and Fable.
I would imagine, obviously Lionhead doesn't exist now, but Playground Games, maybe they task some of their guys, look, let's get a feel for Fable as we're making the new one, let's remake the old ones. Maybe they've pitched it, they've thought, look, we can do this in this time frame, Phil, let us make it, this is how much resources, this is how much we expect back, it'll give us a feel for the universe while we're making the new one, and we're not going to allocate more than like a quarter of our resources to do it. And he would at that point go, great, good, I don't care, I've just spent 70 billion in Call of Duty. That's, honestly, money's not an issue. But, like, I could see that happening. I could see Playground Games going, how are we going to get in the mindset? How are we going to develop our Halo, our Fable? And a good testing ground would be remake 1 to 3. I think it's long enough times past that you're not going to get too many folk grumbling. And, I mean, the last game came out, 10 years ago? 12 years ago? Like 2012, 2013 for Fable 3, that's the last one. Because you can't count Fable Legends because it never released, so...
I think they might look at the Mass Effect Trilogy remaster and go from that. And go, oh, that did really well, and they didn't do a massive amount of work to it, but they did like enough work to it to bring it up to an acceptable modern place.
Which is...
So that's all they need to do with Fable. So.
I think Mass Effect is peak remaster. You've got to agree with that. What they did to that game, whether you enjoyed it or not, like graphically, bringing the control scheme up to date, they pushed was it Unreal Engine 3 it was made on, and I'm almost sure Unreal had to make a 0.5 version to allow extra things happening for the Mass Effect trilogy, because they couldn't move it to 4 because of all the branching narrative paths. And don't get me wrong, Fable has that as well, but it's not as anywhere near as extensive as Mass Effect. But yeah, they could push it to the ultimate remaster territory and try for that. as long as they change the control schemes enough. I mean, it worked for the GTA remasters for me. Sure, graphically they couldn't do too much to it, but see, you've just given me GTA 5's control scheme, which is present day. The game's fine. I don't give a shit what it looks like. If they do this to Fable, absolutely, I'll finally go and play Fable 1. I'll be like, you've improved the graphics and it now plays like a modern game. Good. So yeah, that's our thoughts on that. I think it's a good idea. I can see both happening, like you've said, but I can also behind the scenes at Xbox see an argument for both. Gears 6 is delayed. Well, how are we going to keep the Gears momentum going? Well, we release a Marcus Phoenix collection. Here you go. But then again, I could see Playground Games wanting to cut their teeth in Fable, and what better way to remake the original 3? Like, both could potentially happen. I don't think it's going to be any of the lesser franchises that people were bouncing about. Like, I don't see it being Banjo. I don't see it being Crackdown. Somebody mentioned Forza. Forza's impossible because they have to be delisted.
Why would you do that? Yeah.
Why would you do it is not a question. There's plenty of people that would like to play the old maps with current day Forza cars. The problem isn't the maps, it's the cars you would need to license that they've now lapsed for, and like Ferrari or whoever's not going to want the old. Why would you want it? Okay, so you've got Mexico and the new one. If they said, right, here's the Forza Horizon collection, you can drive your car through any of the maps. Why wouldn't you want that? That's giving you like 4 extra new maps. You're getting like Australia from 3, you're getting Britain from 4, 2 was Miami. So
why
people like car games, Andy?
Remaster collection, just
because
they would just sell that as DLC. They would sell that as DLC. They would never do a collection for that. You'd never ever get a collection for that.
No, but ever. You couldn't because of the car licenses. But I could see them doing it. But I don't see it being Forza. I don't see it being Crackdown. I don't even see it being like the likes of Alan Wake, because there's only 1 in that collection, really 2 if you count on the Nightmare one. But it's not going to be anything else. It's going to either be Gears or Fable. Like, that's what it is in my mind. And I could see arguments for both. Would I get a Gears collection? Well, yeah, because it's on Game Pass. Fine, but I mean, I'm probably not going to go through the Gears games again. Don't get me wrong. See if Judgment. Well, we didn't finish 5, but like if Judgment gets released with better graphics, I could see myself popping on the multiplayer for that, because I enjoyed Judgment.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
So Fable, I would absolutely be hyped for that. Really hyped for that, because I never finished Fable 3 fully. And Fable, I wouldn't play Fable 2 again, because I played that like 2 or 3 times through. It was a really good game. But Fable 1 I'm interested to play, and Fable 3 I'm interested to finish. So yeah, I would be more excited for that, but I don't know. I'd be happy with either, to be fair. And the other news story, like I said, we'll talk about near the end of the show. But for now, we need to talk about what we've been playing. And last week I played nothing, Andy. But this week I've played like 2 things, Andy. Do you want to know what they are?
Yes.
So I played a game called Mousecraft, right?
Yes, I played this 8 years ago.
Well, it only just came to Xbox, and it doesn't look dated at all. It looks absolutely fine.
Yeah, no.
My full review, as always, shameless self-promotion, it's over at thexboxhub.com if you want to read it there. It went live today, I believe. Mouse Hub is a puzzle game where you have to help. I never really understood it through the story. Like, there's a cat called Schrodinger, and no, it's not Schrodinger's cat. He's called Schrodinger, and he is a cat. And he's trying to do an experiment about cheese eating, and he's using mice, but he's run out of money for cheese. And that's it. But basically the game is Tetris meets Lemmings, and I'm like, how's this going to work? But it absolutely does, because you've got your mice on one side of the field, and you've got to get them to the cheese. And sometimes there's like hazards or enemy mice, which are called ratoids, or pits, and they can't fall higher than 3 blocks. And in order to get them to the cheese, you have to drop Tetris blocks, or they're called Tetronimos in this, and you have to slot them in the playfield to get them to the path. And I was like, do you know what? This is a fucking great idea, because the mice are just like lemmings. If they hit a wall too high, they'll just go the other way. If they see a drop, they'll just drop and splat. So you have to protect the mice to the end. There's like crystals you have to collect throughout the levels, which become annoying, I think, when it comes to the end. It's like, oh, you need like... It wasn't a lot for me, and I wasn't trying to collect them all. There was some by the end, I was like, oh, I could have got that crystal, but this is quicker to get to the end. I think I needed 4 or 5 to unlock the final few sections. I'm like, I might go back and complete the whole thing. But they add in enough variety in my mind, because you get electric blocks, crumbling blocks, you get blocks, bombs to blow up things, and sometimes you have to let the mice go, drop a block behind them, blow up a bit here, and then like there's a lot of things going on to get the mice to the end, and it is an older game. I could see it being better on handheld. I think this is definitely a good game for handheld. If it was on Switch, I'd recommend it there, but for Xbox, yeah, I normally don't buy puzzle games, but this is one that I'm going to go back and play. I really did like it. Graphics are fine. Doesn't look like a game that came out 8 years ago, although there's not much to it. It's 2.5D.
Like,
yeah, it's 2D.
Yeah, those type of games age quite well. Yeah. Like all of them.
And the puzzle elements were fine. I mean, you don't get continual Tetris blocks. You just get like 3 or 4. And the good thing is you've got an undo button. You rewind it and it like changes what you've done with no punishment. So it's fun. I really enjoyed it. And if you've never heard of it like I hadn't, then get it on Xbox just now. And read my review.
You've never heard of it because he doesn't listen to me on the show 8 years ago.
I don't. But you don't listen to me either. And what else did I play? I finished a game this week, Andy, actually. I've completed my first game of the year.
Oh my god.
So thank you. I finished, and this was start to finish. This wasn't like you last 10 minutes of the game and credits have rolled. I finished Sonic Triple Trouble, which technically I started this game about, when did the Game Gear come out? Say 28 years ago, 30 years ago, because my cousin Louise actually had it on her Game Gear, and I always took it off her and said, I can't get this on my Master System, you don't understand, I need to play this. And I would use her 8 batteries up in like seconds and go, your Game Gear's dead, and she'd be mad and have to sit at the wall and plug it in whenever we're on holiday. But Triple Trouble always beat me, and it was called Sonic and Tails 2 in Japan, which is the sequel to Sonic Chaos. I wish it was a Master System version, because all Game Gear versions of Sonic games are terrible. The sprites just aren't right. You don't see enough of the screen. However, Sonic Triple Trouble was decent because it was Game Gear only, so it wasn't as bad and zoomed in as Sonic Chaos and Sonic 1 and 2. It was fine. I don't think it's as good as Sonic Chaos by any means. I couldn't say, this, you need to play this is my favourite 8-bit Sonic game, because it's not. My favourite 8-bit Sonic game is Sonic 1, obviously. It's better than Sonic 2. I don't like Sonic 2 8-bit. It's better than Sonic 2 8-bit. But it's not as good as Sonic Chaos. You only get to play Sonic in this, as far as I remember. I don't know if you can choose Tails. You might be able to choose Tails. You can choose Tails. Yeah. Changed my mind in one sentence there. But yeah, you can do Sonic and Tails. Knuckles, for some reason, is again falling for Dr. Eggman's nefarious plans. And Knack/Fang, the sniper, Knack the Weasel, is in this as well. The boss fight at the end was quite cool, because you had to fight Metal Sonic. So that was a cool fight. Since this is better than Sonic CD, because in Sonic CD it's like a crap Sonic 1, which isn't Sonic 1's 16-bit, I mean. And you have to just race Metal, and even in Generations and Sonic Mania, all you do is race Metal, and that's all you seem to do when you fight him. See, in this one, he actually fought you, like, remember, like, the Silver Sonic on the Death Egg in Sonic 2, your favourite Sonic 2? Like, you actually had to fight him. You had to hit him, and then you had to fight the body. You had to fight Metal Sonic like that, and he swooped along the screen. You had to jump and hit him, and then he would go electric, and he would come fast at you. And I was like, this is so much better than racing him. Why didn't they just use this? Every fucking Sonic game since this, you've just had to race Metal Sonic. But no, you fight him, and then Knack the Weasel's next, but he kind of screams and runs off. You don't get to fight him. It's just like a robot. And then the robot, once you beat it, Robotnik/Eggman takes over, and it was not the hardest Dr. Robotnik fight. I would argue the last levels in Sonic games are always harder than the last Robotnik. Like, every time. No memorable zones as such to speak of, really. Nothing really good. Like, I don't like... People moan, I don't want another Greenhouse Zone chemical plant. I do. Like, see whenever they make, like, boing spring mechanic zone, it's like, I don't give a shit. I just want to run through this level. Or Circus Super Night Swirl Zone. I'm like, fuck off with that. Just give me Green Hill or Mushroom Hill. Like, we know where Sonic stays. You don't have to give us this. Casino Night.
Casino's good as well.
I prefer Carnival Night, the one in Angel Island. It's in Sonic and Knuckles. When you hit the balloons, it goes. But Casino Night is a good shout. I do like the pinball levels in Sonic games, but this had none of those. Turquoise Hill isn't the first level in this, because Turquoise Hill, it's like spring spring some mountain zone and all this crap, and I'm like, I don't care. Give me Mystic Ruins any day over this crap. Like, we know where Sonic lives. It's okay to set it there. I've said this before. I don't understand why every time they make a Sonic game, it's as if they have, and you said it's because of Mario, and it is, but they don't need to restart every time and go, this time he's on an amusement park in space. It's like, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. Like, Eggman could be doing something else, or you've got 4 or 5 Sonic villains. It doesn't always have to be Eggman. You could chuck out, like, Metal Sonic's went crazy and, like, replicated himself like happened in Sonic the Con. And guess what? He's took over Angel Island, so now you've got to help out Knuckles. Like, just do that. And it's okay. In Green Hill Zone, oh, why does it look different? Because it's a big zone. Like, this isn't rocket science. But anyway, yeah. So the funny thing that I realised the other day, like I was like yesterday or the day before years old when I learned it. Green Hill Zone, right? And then at the start of Sonic 2, you've got Emerald Hill Zone. What colour's emerald stereotypically? It's green.
It's green.
So, I only clocked that the other day. I'm like, see what you did there, but this is a different zone. It doesn't look like Greenhouse Zone didn't have monkeys, the little shits throwing the coconuts at you. But yeah, I can't recommend Triple Trouble. I played it on 3DS. I mean, if I'm just trying to finish the Sonic games that I've never finished, and this has been like I've had that list for like the past 4 or 5 years trying to get through them. And as long as I stick to them, they're not bad. Sonic games aren't overly difficult. Some of them are difficult to get all the emeralds, but I'm not doing an all emerald run in them all because the 8-bit ones, especially the early ones, there was no supersonic. It was just a case of like at the end you got like a thumbs up instead of Robotnik tossing the Chaos Emeralds, and I'm like, I ain't going through this to do all that just to get good job like freeze frame because I don't mind doing it in Sonic 1. Because in Sonic 1 they're hidden in the zones and it's quite fun to get some of them. But
yeah, it's exploring and like you need to do kind of weird tricky like I always remember
the
that
bridge
one
zone.
the bridge zone.
Yeah, where it
falls. Like, where it
falls.
falls and you have to jump, yeah.
So I just love that game. That's probably it is the best Sonic 1 version. It is the best Sonic 1 game. I don't like Sonic 1 in the Mega Drive at all. Blasphemy, some might say. Sonic 2 in the Mega Drive is leagues above Sonic 2 in the Master System, though. It really is. There's no question. Yeah. Sonic 2 in the Master System's hot garbage. But I did play another game, and I'm trying to think of what it was. I nearly went back in Avengers because they added Kate Bishop's from TV.
Did you buy it? You didn't buy it, didn't you?
No, I didn't buy this one. I will.
Okay.
I will.
Yeah.
But I didn't buy it. It's payday today, so you never know what happened after the show. I did watch Spider-Man. Spider-Man, we can't make an MCU Spider-Man movie, so we just use everyone else's ideas, I think is the subtitle. Didn't enjoy it at all. Really didn't enjoy it. I think it was better than both of Tom Holland's previous outings as Spider-Man, but I don't think it's better than any of Andrew Garfield's at all. And I'm not one jumping on the Andrew Garfield was great bandwagon. Listen to the show. I've said it, he's the best since the start. In this movie, I didn't like him in this movie. No,
I didn't like him.
I think he was playing. He was being too different. He didn't seem like Spider-Man to me. I know he'd aged, but that made even less sense to me. Like, why is he aged but the villains haven't? Like, doesn't make sense.
I loved that movie.
I know you did. Do you want, anyway, I'm going to read my problems because you've spoken about this in length before. So, problem 1. So, in this movie, spoilers, fucking Zendaya is given a magic box.
Yeah.
She's given a magic box. And Spider-Man says to her, Tom Holland says to her, if anything goes wrong, push this button and send them the fuck back. Okay. So, Aunt May dies, and the villains go free. She doesn't consider pushing the button at all. The villains start attacking. She doesn't consider pushing the button at all. Things go wrong at the Statue of Liberty, even to the point of Lizard jumping through a portal at her. She doesn't consider pushing the button. Fuck me. Right, next point. I don't want you arguing with these. Sandman, right? Sandman wasn't a bad guy. He was a good guy put in bad situations. He was a good guy at the end of Spider-Man 3. He was a good guy at the start of this. But just because they wanted him to be a villain, he turned around and said, do you know what, I don't trust you. I'm going to team up with these guys who I heavily disagree with because all I want in my life is to see my daughter one more time and do the best for her. No, I'm going to start throwing police cars in the air again to be a dickhead just because I've turned around and said, I don't recognise this Spider-Man, so I'm a bad guy now. Wouldn't have happened. Next, take Lizard out the movie, nothing changes. Next, Daredevil. It was a cool scene. Wasn't needed. This is my notes. Wasn't needed. It was just fan service. Brackets. This sums up the entire film. Good fan film. Average movie.
Daredevil, right?
I just want to touch you. Take him out of the movie.
Because
no need.
No.
Wasted.
No,
payment.
because they needed a lawyer, right? They needed a lawyer.
She-Hulk. Right? Promote your upcoming film.
Fine, I would have done that as well. But
there you go.
The reason they put him in. Oh, I would have She-Hulk or Matt Murdock. Either one, it doesn't matter.
She-Hulk makes sense. She-Hulk's coming soon.
It makes complete sense to have a MCU lawyer in there, right?
Yeah, it does.
Because they do this in the comics all the time. They have people come in for one.
I read the comics, I know. But again, put She-Hulk in it. Okay. Open brackets. Should have been She-Hulk. Right, next. If this was indeed across all the multiverse, which was said several times by Doctor Strange, why didn't we see any new villains? Why didn't they use this opportunity to introduce brand new villains from Spider-Man, who, in the comics, as you will know, since we're talking comics, has one of the biggest back catalogue of villains. Personal villains to Spider-Man. Throw in 3 or 4 that we've never seen as cool, thank you, instead of... Why did we get 2 for Garfield? Shh, this is not for you to answer. 2 for Garfield, 2 for Maguire. Where the fuck was Vulture? Why did Tom Holland not have any of his villains? Why can they not just make it a Sinister Six instead of pissing us off? Next.
They showed all the villains at the end.
No, they didn't. They didn't show any of them. They showed silhouettes. Oh, in the cartoon bit before the credits. Right, anyway. So, next. In the movie, Ned just all of a sudden is magic and he can open up portals. Fine, I'll accept that. So the call was made out for anyone that knew who Peter Parker was to come. Great. So because Peter Parker knows himself, the whole multiverse, only 2 of them come. And they've been there for a full day. The fuck's Andrew Garfield been doing in an alleyway for a whole day? Like,
you'll see that in another movie down the line.
I got here a day ago. See, the minute he said that, he should have said, I just showed up here. He said he's been there for a day. What the fuck did you do for a day? What did you do? Do you know what this is? No, not movie. Mini-series called One More Day, Andy, because that's a comic title. One More Day, and it's Andrew Garfield.
I'd love it.
Anyway, we don't know that's happening because all we've got to go off is this film. Why did they show up anyway? Wasn't explained. It's just like, oh cool, here's Spider-Man because he knows he's Peter Parker. And why, if the villains were pulled from the point of death, why did the current timeline Spider-Man come through and not the Spider-Man from that point? Because don't hit me with CGI, because Alfred Molina that plays Doc Ock was de-aged, as was Norman Osborn. Andrew Garfield doesn't need de-aged. Tobey Maguire a wee bit of work. Like, why did it have to be present day in their universe Spider-Man for some reason come through, and also villains from back when they killed them years ago come through as well, without explaining why the Spider-Men have showed up? Anyway, next. Stupid fucking movie. Anyway, at the end, it was like me writing a story and saying, and then they all woke up, because nothing mattered. Everything get fixed and was back to where we were at the start of the movie. The only thing that was... Listen, let me finish. The only thing that was sorted was no one knows who Peter Parker is. Could we give a shit? No, because this could have been fixed if Doctor Strange had just gave him the fucking spell in the first place and said, this is not your option, you've messed it up, here's the spell, instead of fucking around the mirror universe. Next. All the villains were cured by the end, yeah? They're all cured, all good. So are they just sent back and now they're dead? They're just sent back to the point of death. Oh, I was a good guy for a minute, now I'm dead. Wasn't explained. We didn't see the resolution of any of the villains. They just Thanos the fuck out of there and we're just to accept, oh great, what if that good person's now sent back to being stabbed by a glider or drowned by a sun machine? He's like, oh, but I did all, I'm good. Or like fucking Sandman in the machine. He's like, oh no, I thought I would get to see my daughter. I was meant to be a real boy now. And then like Lizard's back to being Connors. He gets sent back and all of a sudden he's on that rooftop being fucking fried alive by his machine. But oh, I'm a good guy now. Oh no, Disney's just killed you. Sorry, pal. All the work was worthless. Why not just add in a 2-3 second scene of their universes and just say, look, all the villains are now shaking hands with Peter Parker and they're going to the pub. Anyway, if Tom Hardy was on board, right, like I said, spoilers, which he was, why would you just have him film a fucking 2-minute scene at a bar when you could easily have a 2-minute scene of Tom Hardy in an alleyway and then add Venom to this entire movie instead of fucking useless Lizard? Like, Venom would have been much more interesting as kind of a conflicted, who do I help? Instead of Sandman going, oh well, guess I'm bad now. Guess I'm a really evil villain. I'm going to throw, not that I would normally do it, but see, because I don't trust this Peter Parker, I'm going to throw these police cars in the air so that Goblin can kill his auntie. Because that's what Sandman did. And then see, when somebody's dead, I'm going to leave the scene because I'm just wanted to see my daughter, so it doesn't matter if she dies. No, you're a good person. Anyway, so why not do that? Tom Hardy was on board, film him in an alleyway. You don't even need to pay him after that because the rest of the film can be CGI'd Venom and he can fucking send you the voice lines. Stupid waste of time because we're never going to see Tom Hardy versus Tom Holland. Anyway. Yeah. Or leave Lizard in and have Venom because Lizard didn't do anything. And then you've got a Sinister Six, and it can be the Sinister Six, and everyone will be like, oh cool, they've done a Sinister Six, but instead they've done what, the famous fucking 5? No one gives a shit. Even add in the Vulture from Tom Holland, like that would be believable. Oh look, Sandman, because he's now a bad guy, remember kids, he's evil, he's throwing police cars in the air where all he wants to do is spend time with his daughter. He's broke the prison in half. And guess who's flew out? Oh, the Vulture, because he's made a makeshift shank of a fucking pair of wings and he's flying out there with prison teaspoons to fight Spider-Man. Bollocks movie. The only good part was finally at the end it looks like they're cutting the umbilical cord to the Avengers and fucking set up movies, because the last 2 Spider-Man movies were sets up for the Avengers, and guess what? This is a set up for Doctor Strange 2. Apart from the last 10 minutes of the movie where he's finally Spider-Man, living by himself, no job, trying to pay rent, has his own suit, none of the tech. Like, this Spider-Man's had a fucking support team all the way through and backup, and Tony Stark in the phone for fucking 4 movies before this, counting the 2 Avengers films. He's never had a chance to be Spider-Man apart from the YouTube video at the start where he wore the swimming goggles, right? So maybe the next one will be better. I hope it is. I'm not completely writing it off, but see all the fucking circle jerk in this movie being the second coming of Christ? It's the second coming of the biggest bullshit I've ever seen. You've wasted your opportunity to add in so many villains because you had the perfect excuse to go, let's test out a different version of Rhino. Let's test out a villain that we haven't seen. Kraven the Hunter could debut here. Boom, there's fucking Kraven. Like, even the glimpses of these sort of villains, because guess what? It's the multiverse, not the other 2 Sony property verse. Absolute crap. It could have been reworded. Like, Doctor Strange made it very clear, this is everyone from the multiverse that has known who Peter Parker is that's coming through. Why don't you just say it's a fraction of the multiverse is opened and I'm trying to hold it together? That one line change would have stopped me being angry about that. But I can't not be angry about that. It's the entire multiverse, but we get 4 villains. Right, well, where's my bad guys? What are they doing? They're safe in jail. Oh, good for you. How did you manage that? Because you've got the fucking Avengers. You've never tried anything in your life, you baby-faced little shit, Tom Holland. I'm sorry, I like Tom Holland, but I didn't like it, and I love Spider-Man movies. I liked it better than Homecoming and whatever the last one was called, Far Away From Home, Far From Home, whatever Far From Home, yeah. That one was the worst. This one's better, but only at a push. But I think they should have had Venom at least show up and go, we're going over here, and fight Tom Holland for a bit and go, even if he said I'm getting out of here, and then the symbiote fell off him, much better than him sitting at a bar. Like, if you had Tom Hardy and he's agreed to be Eddie Brock, all you need him for is 2-3 minutes like they did. Have him in an alleyway going, whoa, where am I? And he goes, we're here. And then he turns to Venom. You don't need Tom Hardy. You can just CG Venom. Because at the end of Venom 2, he knew Spider-Man was. So then make that lead in a wee bit. And he decides to try and fight him a bit. And then he sees the other villains who's going, no, let's get out of here. And because this Venom might run away, which is fine. Then we've had this Tom Holland fight Venom. He's got some knowledge. Like, then that gives him a reason to call back Tobey Maguire. Because it's not we might not see Tobey Maguire because apparently he's difficult to work with, blah, blah. I don't know the true story. I've never worked with him. I think we definitely see Andrew Garfield. I think we hit the nail on the head there when, like, where was he? Why did he have that line, I've been here for a day? He could have said, I've just appeared. Where the fuck is this? But he said, I've been here for a whole day. Right? So
Yeah.
they definitely need to have that miniseries. A bit like what James Gunn did with Peacemaker. He filmed 8 episodes of Peacemaker during Guardians while he had the actors and the cameras and everything. So he made the TV series with the resources. Because the problem with having direct tie-ins with movies is actors' schedules don't always line up, so they might have a movie next where they can't commit to a TV series. So what James Gunn did with John Cena was fucking fantastic, because if he'd just tried to make the TV series after, John Cena would probably be filming the next Fast and the Furious movie, which he's currently filming. So what I hope happened is they used that time with Andrew Garfield to even do like a 6-episode miniseries for Disney Plus. Call it One More Day, and it will just be what Andrew Garfield did in his day there. Maybe he fought the Vulture, maybe that's why Vulture didn't show up. Maybe Vulture did have a prison break. And then you maybe see Vulture getting thrown into a parallel universe, and that's why he shows up in Morbius. Like, anyway, so I didn't like the film. I think Tom Holland's finally, 4 films after being Spider-Man in, this is his 5th as Spider-Man, he's finally becoming a believable Spider-Man and Peter Parker. I know a lot of folks said that in the first place, but I don't think he was as good a Spider-Man as Andrew Garfield. Like, a lot of folks say Andrew Garfield had the quips and stuff, and after Hey Everyone, he seemed, they kept him too young for too long. It's like, we get it, you've finally got an actor that's in his 20s that looks 16, and we get it, but now you can make him look slightly older, so just get on with it. I don't want to see Venom in the next film straight away. I don't. I want to see a new villain that's not been in any films. Like Chameleon, Kraven, one of these guys. Kraven's Last Hunt. Make the next film Kraven's Last Hunt, so the first thing he comes up against is his toughest enemy. Kraven has decided Spider-Man's the ultimate prey, and it's this big game hunter that's been in Africa. You know, maybe by the time it comes out, we find out they had the Savage Land's been discovered, because X-Men might be out by the time Spider-Man's here. But make him, he's hunted a T-Rex, and then he decides his ultimate prey is the Spider of New York, and he goes to fight Spider-Man. That'd be fucking cool. Jason Momoa, there you go, there's Kraven's cast already for you. Perfect. Give him a furry coat, he's chasing Spider-Man through the city. Perfect. Sets him up a big trap. Introduce Black Cat. 100% needs to happen now that MJ's finally fucking gone, probably due to Zendaya's contract. I think we don't see them any more than a cameo in the next movie or two. I definitely think Ned's going to be a supervillain, because he was one of the goblins in the comics, as far as I remember.
Yeah, he was a hobgoblin.
He was a hobgoblin, yeah, and he made a comment about promising not to turn into a supervillain in this one that just seemed a wee bit too, you're going to be a villain. And plus, he's lost a beast of weight, so it would make sense that he would be on it. He'd be on a glider. I also want to see in the next movie, Spider-Man has to fight Kingpin. I want to see at the start, I want to see him doing Spider-Man stuff. And I don't mean giving kids back the bike. I want to see him fighting gangsters in the middle of alleyways. I want to see him breaking into hideouts like, hey guys, and jumping down and webbing up people. And it's in a bank, but then Black Cat goes, thanks, and jumps away, and like they have their wee thing. I want that in the next movie. And then Kraven decides to hunt them. That's what I want to see. And I don't want Zendaya or the other guy to show up outside of maybe Tom Holland checking in on them at uni, and that's it. I don't think they're needed either. I think what he needs to do is find a Gwen. The minute I seen that, I was like, right, we need to move on from this MJ name change. I don't know why she couldn't have just been Mary Jane Watson instead of this, like, retconning her name every fucking movie that comes out. Oh, I don't go by Watson. Well, we know, you're yours and Zendaya. We don't care. Like, MJ, like, whatever. You're Mary Jane Watson. Call yourself whatever you want. You are the Mary Jane of this film. What we need now is Gwen. We need Spider-Man to find a Gwen. Like Andrew Garfield's Gwen, like proper, because Gwen Stacy was one of Spider-Man's first.
I'd rather see him with Black Cat, like, honestly.
But both, because he needs to be able to juggle the relationship of, like, girlfriend, but Black Cat's flirting with him at night because she loves Spider-Man, but his current girlfriend loves Peter Parker. That's how I see it. But anyway, this film is not for me. Not for me. I will buy the 4K because I've got all Spider-Man films. But yeah, it wasn't.
For me, it was my favourite movie of all time. It's the best movie I've ever seen. Fantastic.
It's simply not. But you didn't argue with too many of my points, which means that you see the problems.
Because you moved on too quickly, and I can see where your points are coming from. I disagree with them completely, but I can't be bothered arguing with you about them.
You shouldn't argue with me about them because they're all 100% right. Tell me that. Right, okay, I'll let you argue with me in one point.
Okay.
If I take Lizard out that movie, is anything going to change in that movie?
Oh no, I actually agree with you on that one. Like
wasted.
Lizard was always, and I don't like Lizard anyway. Lizard's like fucking Lizard.
He should. Do you know what I hate about him? Why is he naked? Lizard always has a lab coat on, like in the comics, in the cartoons. Lab coat.
Just that's the way they did him in the Amazing Spider-Man movie. He had a lab coat on for about 5 seconds, and then it fell off.
And then all of a sudden, there's another one I forgot about. Jamie Foxx. So all of the rest of them are the exact same as the one in the previous universe, right? But the worst portrayal of any fucking character ever was Jamie Foxx playing that weird scientist. All of a sudden, he's Jamie Foxx himself. He's just playing Jamie Foxx now. Why? Why did that? Why did that happen? Also, now that we're here live on air, they brought people in that knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man. Did they? When did Electro find that out?
He didn't know.
So there's a gaping hole right fucking there.
Like, he finds out in this movie. It's weird because he finds out in this movie because
because he's like, I thought you'd be a brother because it's
black.
So he didn't know Peter Parker was Spider-Man.
Nope.
So why did he come through? Because that was the rules. So
he
made no sense. He didn't know.
I'd need to go back and watch him in Spider-Man 2 again, because he might have known that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, but he might not have known who Peter Parker was, because he'd never met Peter Parker. He'd only met Spider-Man.
No, he doesn't know.
But
Peter
I don't
Parker
know.
Spider-Man. Anyway,
I want to say one thing about the Blu-ray release, and then we'll move on. Blu-ray release, right? So like, I want to buy this movie on 4K, right? Or 4K Blu-ray, and I want to get it the day it comes out, so I can watch it again in good quality and whatnot. Problem with it is I want a box art, right, that has all 3 Spider-Men on it. There isn't one,
which is silly.
It's because they're still quoting along that way of like,
and it's a surprise. Yeah, because there might be some folk that don't go to cinemas and just are going to buy it this way, and they don't want to know, because there are people that don't use the internet as much as us, like daily. Every minute, basically, I'm connected to the internet, and like the reason I read the spoilers before the film was out was because they would have get ruined, and 100% within 2 days they were everywhere in memes, they were everywhere in GIFs. It was ruined if you didn't go and see it. So that's why I read it myself, and I wasn't as pissed off. But see, because I read the entire story, I was like, this doesn't sound good, and it was exactly what I expected. So I wasn't. The good thing is, Andy, I wasn't overly disappointed because it was what I expected it to be. A nothing fucking story relying on previously set up storylines in other movies to make any sense. And even at that point, doesn't make much sense, to be honest. And at the end, what happened to them? Did they all just get sent back as good, harmless people to die?
Doesn't matter. The universes are away in the past. Doesn't matter.
Andy, you said this about him. It does matter because it still exists and the multiverse is about to collide. Anyway, there's nothing we can do about that. His suit was also shit. Hated it. Turn it inside out. Fucking, we knew that was happening, but see when he did it, I was like, really? You can fucking construct a nano machine to remove another dimension's 4-limbed creation from the back of a neural link, but you can't wash paint, normal paint, out of a Spider-Man suit, which, as far as I remember, was a nanotech suit anyway. So why couldn't it fucking self-clean? And fuck off with that film. Do you know what happened? They get Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire to agree, and they went, fucking get them in front of a camera and make it happen now. Story, who gives a shit? Just film them.
Yeah, they were the best part about the movie. I loved Andrew Garfield in it, and I wanted
Tobey Maguire was great, but I wanted him to be a wee bit more jaded, more like Into the Spider-Verse Peter. I wanted him to be more like that. Like, I've seen it all, done it all, kid. I wanted him to be more like that, but his evolution...
That's a great movie as well.
His evolution of the character was more realistic than Andrew Garfield being like, I love you guys. It's like, you've just told us you've came from a really dark place where you've stopped really being Peter Parker, and now you're like, oh, I love you, within half an hour.
He didn't have any friends, and these people just accepted him for who he was. And he was like, oh my god, no one's accepted me for so long, I love you. It made complete sense to me. It's fantastic.
I like Andrew Garfield, but
anyway,
it's not even the best Spider-Man movie in the past 10 years.
Anyway, let's move on from
Yes, let's
Spider-Man.
move on from Spider-Man. So I'm looking forward to a show. I don't know if you finished, but my cousin has been watching Vikings, and he just got to the resolution. Oh, see the last season. I forgot how twisty and turny was. Something better happened to him. Something better happened to him, and I'm like, just keep watching. I don't want to tell you what happens. And he finished it, and he's like, "Oh, great. When's more?" I goes, "Well, you're in luck. I've been waiting 2 years because of COVID, but a month today, the sequel season starts on Netflix. Vikings Valhalla starts 25th of February." And he goes, "Oh, is it a connect?" I goes, "It's a direct connection." And the latest rumor I've read is Rollo Ragnar's brother, the actor that plays him, Clive, whatever his name is apparently playing his relative in this. So it's the same actor playing
cool.
So that's pretty cool. And I said they definitely will reference them, because what the plan was to cover the golden age of the Vikings, and then this season's probably going to be the ending of the Vikings. Well, series, however long they do it for. Netflix isn't going to buy Vikings away from Amazon to do one season. So I'd imagine 4 or 5 seasons, maybe 6, like Vikings. I hope we get to see Largs in this, because that's what we always talked about when we were watching Vikings, because that didn't happen to the latter days, so you might get to see that sort of stuff in this. The trailer came out for it, and it looks absolutely immense. So I've reinstalled Assassin's Creed Valhalla, even though because I think it came out just as I was finishing Vikings, so it was a wee bit too late to jump on my Vikings hype. So if I can dig in at bits of it for the next few weeks, then I'll be in proper Viking mode for the next season. Although I can't wait, and I'm just so jealous that he started it like just before Christmas, Vikings, and he's only just finished it. So he's only got like a month to wait for a brand new series, whereas like COVID delayed it by a year for us that watched it when it was on. Did you ever finish Vikings? I don't think you did you? No.
No, I gave up. I gave up after the time jumps. I didn't like the time jumps.
Time jump. Oh, it skipped a few years to Age the Sons, but that's because that's when the next significant tales in Viking history happened. Because like Jamie that's my cousin, was moaning about someone dying, and I'm like, but you know, it's the History Channel that made this, so like it's kind of based off of roughly what happened during that era, or what they can tell from the Viking sagas. He went, "Oh, right," and I said, "Don't think the Netflix one will be based on actual history. It might take some severe liberties." If anything, I've got a bad feeling they might lean too heavy into the fantasy element, which, as you know, was just the hallucinations of the Vikings or deep beliefs of them. And I think Netflix might go, "Oh, cool, they've got dragons and shit in this. Let's have that." I hope they don't.
I don't think they will. I don't think they will.
I hope they don't. I hope the History Channel is actually still involved. As far as I know, the creator's still involved in the show, so then he should keep it in the right path.
Yeah, it'll probably be the same.
Yeah, so we've got that. There's a lot of there's a lot of things coming out. Upload, I don't know if you remember me telling you about that. Robbie Amell, you know, Stephen Amell's cousin that plays Firestorm, Resident Evil, Chris. He did Upload. It was a season on Amazon Prime. It's kind of an Andy show. That's their way of judging things in the house. Andy shows are some things that I can sometimes tolerate, but they're mostly for Tasha. So Upload it's kind of like once you die, you can pay for your conscience to be uploaded to this virtual afterlife so that your loved ones can come and visit you and such. And he's been uploaded, and then he finds out like there's a sinister plot, and like his girlfriend that uploaded him was not really in love with him and all this stuff. And I think it is a Discord thing. I think it's Discord's disconnected for whatever reason. It's back on now. So Upload Season 2 got announced, and I'm like, how the hell did you manage to sneak this when there's been fans like tweeting save Upload thinking it was gone forever, and the season's out like end of this month, start of next month, which is pretty cool because I really did enjoy that show. It's on Prime Video. I think it's a Prime Video exclusive sort of one, because Prime doesn't have a lot. But my cousin was asking for recommendations, and I said the next one you should do is Black Sails, if you're liking the sort of Vikings kind of show.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Black Sails are preferred to Vikings.
I like them both about the same. Black Sails had more continually decent episodes, whereas Vikings kind of dipped when Ragnar died for a while until they built Bjorn up to be like kind of the main guy and believable once the actor ate himself in body weight and actually looked like a Viking, because the guy was far too skinny at first. But yeah, by then Bjorn was honestly awesome. So I don't think I watched it.
Is it Sonic Unleashed?
Sonic Unleashed is obviously the one where he turns into a werehog. It's got one of the coolest opening sequences in any Sonic games. The CGI in it's amazing, and I just don't like the platforming when you become the werehog. I don't mind him being a werehog now. It looks good and it runs 60 FPS with the patch, but just the sections with the werehog, just the camera and everything's so restrictive. It's a product of its time, but the Sonic sections are fine. I don't think I played anything else. I'm trying to think if I genuinely played anything else. Just Mousecraft I played a lot of over the past couple of days. And then I did play one other game. I think it's called
the new game.
Did I?
The new game, Ali.
Did I?
A brand new game came to Game Pass on the 20th.
I'll talk about that when you do. But like, I did play another Game Pass game called The Forgotten City.
Okay, yeah.
And this kind of is like a Myst kind of adventure game, kind of Skyrim graphics, first person sort of mystery. Basically, there's a forgotten underground city of Rome, and you end up going through a portal, and it turns out there's a curse that if anyone breaks the law, the whole city has to die, and you've got to stop that from happening, and there's multiple endings. I thought it was quite interesting. I'm going to give it some more time. I just basically played the first like half hour. So you wake up next to a river and the girl says, "Oh hi, blah blah," and you try and it tells you that your speech, your dialogue choices have consequences and such. So I was trying not to be too much of a dick, and I was just like, "Who are you?" And she told me to go in the portal. And then there's gold statues, and you find out that the gold curse killed everyone in the village, and you get sent back, and you've got to try and speak to everyone, and it's like the day before an election. First of all, you speak to kind of the guy in charge, the Caesar or whatever his name is. He's the guy in charge, and he's brought the people here to this kind of like almost utopian society in a way, where there's only like a select number, there's only like 30 people or something like that, and you have to go around. They all live in different places, but they've all got different motives, and you have to listen to conversations and speak to them the right way to try and influence the decisions during the election. Like at the moment, I'm thinking he's a good choice to stay in power because he explained it to me. But he kind of went shifty when he told me how he found out how to do the ritual. There had to be a sacrifice. So I'm like, you've killed someone. You've definitely murdered. You've did a murder. Who was it? And he wouldn't tell me. He's like, we won't get into any of that, but just trust me, I did the ritual. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, but your reasons for keeping this society together are decent. But then there's a woman saying he's not what he seems. And it's like one of those who do I trust kind of games. I don't think it's going to be very long. And it starts kind of cool because it says this game was made by 3 people over 4 years, and I'm like, this is some feat. Don't get me wrong, it is Skyrim level graphics, Skyrim level characters, which
it's because it says mod of Skyrim.
Is it a mod of Skyrim?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know this.
It was a Skyrim mod, and they were able to like make it into like a full game.
Well, then my observations were astute, dear Watson.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works. It's really good. For what they've done to make this, even though it looked like Skyrim, I couldn't have told you this was a mod. Like, do you know what I mean? It feels like an indie title. Like, brilliant.
It doesn't seem as if it's actually set anywhere that's in Skyrim. No. It's like it's a total different time period.
Whole new assets, whole new graphics. Like you're wearing modern clothes and stuff, and then you go through. They're wearing all Roman clothes, and the buildings are all different. They're like old Roman structures, and it's one of those games where you'll see. I think Assassin's Creed does it, where you can't read, like, say, the hieroglyphics, and then the more you play, you start picking up parts. It's got, like, Roman numerals and things dotted about, and you can't speak it yet. And it's like, I can't translate it. And then, like, letters start appearing. You can see what the warnings are that are written up on the walls. Quite an interesting game. I mean, it's on Game Pass if you want to try it. Anyway, I did try a brand new game, but I'll speak about that once Andy's finished all his. And then we'll talk about Respawn at the end, because I generally think that's all I played. I don't think I played any Sonic Robo Blast this week. I read a lot more Sonic IDW. I'm nearing the end of the run at the moment, and I'm going to go back to the Turtles where I left it. Because IDW's just lost Transformers and something else, and I'm gutted because Transformers is one of their best comics, and I don't understand why they've lost the license for it. Maybe they've been offered a cheaper deal with another comic publisher who are going to absolutely fuck it up, because that's what happens with these things. But Sonic's still with them.
Probably Marvel. I'll go to Marvel.
Transformers? No, they would have had to bought the entire franchise for that. These days, because it's Disney, it's not just Marvel you're dealing with.
Maybe they did.
Probably Phil Spencer's bought it.
Yeah, it's going to Microsoft Comics now.
So yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. So yeah, I don't think I played anything else that I could think of. That was it. Sonic Triple Trouble. Obviously I played Mousecraft. the Forgotten City, Sonic Unleashed, and then the new game, the brand new day one game that we were so hyped for in the first place. Anyway, Andy, apart from that, what did you play this week? What games did you play? I'm going to go and make a lime sip because my throat's going again.
I played a few things. So we didn't get to speak about what we played last week because we were covering Microsoft. But I did finish multiple games over the last couple of weeks. I've finished 4 games already this year now, which puts me ahead, and I've done that for a reason. Basically because I know that in February, March, I'm going to be playing Horizon and Elden Ring, and those are 2 massive games that I'll be playing for probably the whole month. So this puts me ahead of our goal right now. So like our goal is to beat 24 games over the year. I've now beaten 4 games already. So I finished the Pedestrian. I liked the end half an hour of that game, and I liked the beginning maybe a couple of hours. In between, there was a lot of puzzles I did not enjoy. As soon as they introduced the sticky mechanic, I felt it absolutely ruined the puzzles of the game completely. Like, because you would have to stick it, like, basically your tiles you move around and you move between the tiles as a little stick man, and you have to make a tile that is like, you turn it green, and that tile, whatever happens around it, stays. Which, that's okay, but then you have, within those puzzles as well, you had to turn the green on and off, turn it on and off, and go between different places. Really annoying. You had to do it in specific orders to be able to get things into the right places. Didn't enjoy that at all, that aspect of it. It was very difficult to work out. And I felt that really, really slowed the game down in the kind of like latter half of it. But the first half was good, and then the last like half an hour was really cool.
The Pedestrian.
The Pedestrian, yeah.
If you want to check out my review on that, go to 42level1.com and it's our newest review there.
Yeah. It went kind of witnessy at the end, and I liked that, like how you were interacting with like a 2D world and a 3D world. I dug that. I wish I'd done that for the whole game, and I would bet you they'll do that for the second game. It'll be a much better game. After I beat that, I went back and finished Donut County, which must have been on like
I like that.
the second last level or something. Yeah, I liked the gameplay of it. It was really cool. Like, definitely reminded me of Katamari Damacy.
That you can sit back and just turn off. You don't have to think too much. There's not a lot of effort, and it's enjoyable enough. And I just like games like that sometimes, and don't come along very often like this.
Yeah, I like that though. Like how you had a tiny hole, and as you ate more things, it made a bigger hole, and you could set the hole on fire. You could fill it with water and stuff. I liked that. That was cool, and it made you think about how to solve the puzzles. None of it was particularly difficult. They had a boss fight and everything in it, which was like, oh, this is fine. The story was crap in it though, like the stupid raccoon digging down the earth, like absolute nonsense. I did not enjoy any of that, and after a while I just skipped all of the dialogue. But I did finish it, so it's done. Then I went back and I beat Knack. So I was on the last boss of Knack from like 7 years ago. And I have it through PlayStation Plus at some point, so I'm like, oh, I'll go do this. Went back, beat the last boss in Knack, which was a terrible last boss, absolutely awful, because it's a big guy far away, and you start off as Big Knack, and as soon as the fight starts, he turns you down to Little Knack, and you have to run towards him, avoiding stuff to get all your all your collected things back, whatever they're called. I can't remember what they're called now. To turn back into Big Knack. And then you can dodge him a couple of times, and then you can Big Knack, yes. And then you can dodge him a couple of times, and then you can hit him. You only need to hit him twice, so that happens twice. So like he turns you back into Little Knack again. You need to get back to him, and then turn back to Big Knack and hit him, and then he's dead. And I'm like, oh, why the fuck did I not finish this 7 years ago? It took me maybe an hour to beat this boss fight. Like I had to do it, I don't know, 8 or 9 times maybe. And then count all the load times, probably about an hour. But why didn't I just do it at the time? I must not have had the perseverance that I have now for this sort of stuff. It's Metroid, that's what it is, Ali. It's Metroid. Metroid tells me that if I can beat Metroid, I can beat the last boss in Knack. But not a good game, Knack. Would avoid it. Not good. And then I played Firewatch, Ali.
Do you know what?
yesterday.
I think I got this from the American store in PlayStation to get it early because it was PlayStation exclusive for a while.
Yeah.
PS4. I loved it. Like I wasn't sure what I was playing at first because there's some parts that kind of push you towards this is going to be jump scary. This seems like it's building to be a horror. There's even some parts that's like I don't want to go in the mountains and find this shadowy figure. Like, and you don't spoilers, but you don't. But I remember that vividly, and I was talking to you last night. But I was like, I remember that part. And I'm like, this is where it's taking its horror turn. This is it. I'm screwed. And it didn't. It was just a really. I liked it. But what did you think about it?
I really liked it, man. Like, I mean, they term this type of game as like a walking simulator, but like, I would say, I don't know, it's more than that. Like, it just tells a really good story. Because I've played other games where it's just wandering around and like it's just telling you a story, but you feel a lot more connected in this one. Like, I really loved the way that they kind of set it up at the beginning, where they're just like, they're just giving you text and it's giving you a couple of options here and there for like how your relationship is with your wife, like how it builds and how you're together and whatnot and what you do with her because she ends up like she develops dementia and you need to decide whether you stick with her or whether you send her away to a home. And like I was like, away to the home. I can't deal with you anymore. But then you've got this voice on the other end of a radio that you're talking to while you're observing files and stuff. And I liked how it was like it was a really solitary game, but you always had somebody to talk to. So like, and I never felt particularly scary to me because I had this person on the walkie-talkie. The only time when I ever felt like on edge was when when this woman didn't answer. So like, I would report something and she just wouldn't say anything. And I'm like, what's happened? What's wrong with her? Where is she gone? Like, why is there no signal? Like all that sort of shit. But like, I really liked like kind of unraveling the mystery of what happened and like you find like there's some weirdness that's happened with this little boy and. And there's a bit where you're chasing two teenagers, like two teenage girls, and they call you a pervert and all this. It was really funny. But yeah, I loved that game. I thought it was really well written, and just like a good game. And this type of thing, this type of story, you can only tell through a game medium. Like it doesn't work as a TV show or a movie. Like it only works as an interactive experience. So, like I love that type of game. So, thoroughly recommend that. And it was quite short as well. Like I completed it in like yesterday in one day. It took me maybe like 4 or 5 hours to go through, and great experience. Loved it. And then I decided it was time to play Assassin's Creed Alley.
The
Assassin's
first
Creed
one. Now the One
first
X
one.
version's actually got a good upscale. Like it's
Yeah.
okay. The controls are awful. Like the individual hand puppet controls, as they called them. Like what's
Oh.
the point? Reach your left hand, reach your right hand. That was
It's
when.
not, I mean, it's not quite as bad as that, right?
It
But, like,
is.
the graphics,
It absolutely is.
it's not. But the graphics are very very good. See, for a 360 game, it looks
Yeah.
fucking great.
Like a
Like, it
2007 360 game.
yeah, it looks like an Xbox One game. Like, see if you told me this is an Xbox One game, I'd be like, yeah, it is. I wouldn't even bat an eyelid. Like, and especially because the main character, like Altair,
Yeah.
like his character model is fucking John, absolutely spot on.
It's Desmond.
Yeah,
It's just Desmond.
Desmond. Yeah. Well, Desmond doesn't look as good because he doesn't have the cool clothes on.
It's
So it
Desmond
doesn't look
underneath.
cool. Well, yeah, but anyway, so I've been back playing
Talking
that.
of
The
cool
reason-
clothes.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
That's the 30th anniversary t-shirt right there, boy. Now we've got classic, we've got modern, and we've got the new kind of version of Sonic as well. We've got Sonic eating a hot dog all pixelated here. Sega Shop UK or Europe, whatever it is, get it there. Not that we're sponsored by them, but it's a really cool shop if you like all Sega.
Yeah. I'm wearing a Mario t-shirt.
Oh, it's the console wars. Like, son, these are the true console wars. Never mind your PlayStation, Xbox. See, when it was my day, it was a Cyber Razor cut you'd be getting.
But yeah, so Assassin's Creed, the reason I'm playing that is because I've never beaten Assassin's Creed 1, and I've beaten every single other mainline Assassin's Creed game. All of them.
What ones am I
Except this
missing?
one.
The Greek one and Valhalla. I think that's because I did.
Odyssey Valhalla, you've not done.
Yeah, because I did that insane catch up of playing them all, and not from my saves on PlayStation. No, listeners. If you haven't listened to the show or this is your first time, I played the Assassin's Creed games from Syndicate right through, including Rogue, all from scratch because I decided to buy them all on the Xbox sale and start them again. So that was insanity doing that. Like, and I didn't get overly sick of them until I hit Greece, and then it was like, What do you mean you want all this money? And that's the worst part in any Assassin's Creed game.
It's so long, man. It's so long. But this game I don't think is particularly long.
No, it's not.
Quite,
I think you can finish it in 12 hours, 13 hours, maybe.
Yeah. So I've
the
just
feathers, though. Fuck the feathers.
Oh, I'm not bothering with any of that. I don't need 100%.
There's nothing in the open world either. See, the minute you don't
Ready.
need to go in the open world and you can fast travel, I never went in that world because there's nothing there. Like, these were the days before they had the tech to populate the open world and such. Even Assassin's Creed 2 to Brotherhood to Revelations were all kind of confined in an area. It was never really open world like they do these days. And like Assassin's Creed 1, it's just empty. It's just you and your horse riding through Jerusalem, and it's like, hey, there's not much going on here, guys, is there?
There's I've just killed the first assassination target in Damascus.
We'll talk about that.
So that's where I'm at.
Because I loved Assassin's Creed 1. It was the thing that after a couple of years, because I only took a year or two maybe out from video games, because everybody does, because I don't know why. I wish I hadn't, but I was during my out too much. I had a PlayStation, don't get me wrong, but I never played anything. I was just out drinking, coming back. Occasionally we'd get thrown on, somebody would have FIFA with them or Pro Evo, or like we'd play the wrestling games back then, SmackDown vs Raw, everybody and their brother had that, or Tekken. But I would never sit and properly play games. And Assassin's Creed, I seen it at my pal's house and I remember going, what's that? No, what is this? He went, it's Assassin's Creed, and I goes, yeah, but what? Yeah, I need to. I went, okay, I'm going to go. And he goes, but you've only just got here. I goes, yeah, I need to go. I went straight to game and I bought Assassin's Creed from a PlayStation 3 and I walked all the way back to Belmont, to where I stayed. And my girlfriend at the time, his mum and dad were coming round for dinner. I cooked the dinner as fast as anything. She came back for work. What are you doing? Playing Assassin's Creed. Better go off when my parents come round. Nope. I swear, like the only other time I did this in my life was when I was a kid, and like I sat and I played Assassin's Creed. And I went, "Hi, do you want your dinner? Nah, I'll get it later." Like I know you've got a story like this about Final Fantasy, but I honestly, or Kingdom Hearts, I think it was Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy 12, it was. Yeah.
And I sat, I didn't move. Like I paid it, and then she was like, "I'm going to bed. I can't believe all the way." That is honestly what I did. I didn't come off that game for so long. And like the only time I did it before was when I was about 4. We were at my mum's friend's house and they had a SNES. Remember? And I told you I played the All Stars Mario collection. And I didn't come to dinner at the table. That was my first console properly that I sat and played. So my mum was going to buy it for me for my birthday. And she said, nah, he's not coming off of it, so he's not getting it. And then at Christmas that year, luckily, she got me a Sega with Sonic instead, and that started that. But she was going to get me a SNES. Or was it a SNES? Was it a NES? Whatever one it was. I wouldn't come off it. I wouldn't move because I was like, this is better than TV. And it is. It still is. But like that's the only time I've ever done it. But it was maybe a bit more rude. But who cares now? I'm married. That was years ago. But like at the time I was just like, yeah. I couldn't move from Assassin's Creed, and it brought me back into video games heavily, which then, that was the knock-on effect of me roping you in, roping Fraser back in, giving Xboxes to Nelson to get him back in, and it was just like, everybody needs to play games again now, and that's it. But yeah, Assassin's Creed 1, back to my point, the assassinations, what I remember from them is, you felt more involved. It didn't feel just like a guy walking about. You had to you could kind of plan a way to get to him. You kind of had diversions, as far as I know, not as in depth as Assassin's Creed 2, but a little bit of diversions, and like there was multiple ways and routes to get to him. Whereas in the newer games, it just kind of goes into this stupid boss fight all the time with them, and almost in an arena. And I know it's very more Witcher combat these days than it is then, but I loved Assassin's Creed 1 just setting up the perfect assassination, by blending with the is it the priests and stuff? But yeah, it was really good, really good. I sometimes used to blend with the priest just to kind of pause the game when I was in the middle. I'd blend with the priest, go to the toilet, come back, because you just walk around.
Because it auto walks.
Don't
have.
And do you know what?
Don't have auto walk in the new games ever.
Oh, one of the worst things apart from Tail the Suspect in Assassin's Creed is when you have to follow a guy and you can't auto walk in. Most of them, some of them do it, and when you push forwards and you do your kind of jog without running, you're faster than him, but when you slow down to walk, you're slower than him. It's like, why can't you just push A to follow automatically if all he's doing is walking me to a building and he's going the longest fucking route possible? Anyway, Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed is a good game so far. I played it on PS3, but I never finished it. I'm pretty sure I got to near the end. The annoying thing
about the PlayStation 3 when Andy, back when I cared, it doesn't have trophies. But
No.
Xbox One's got achievements, so it's not like they couldn't have ported them over, and I never understood why they didn't, but it's because the trophy system came a few years after achievements, and it wasn't in place when Assassin's Creed came out. But I've still never understood why retroactively they haven't just moved them over to give people a reason to play it. Well, obviously it's beyond that now, because there's no BC at the moment. But yeah, it's a good game.
They might do BC, we'll see. But yeah, like Assassin's Creed, I'm going to be chipping away at that over the next wee while. I'm not going to I don't think I'm going to hammer it, but I'm enjoying it. Like it's good, and like it plays absolutely fine apart from climbing. The climbing sucks. But because the climbing sucks, sometimes the climbing's better.
When you back eject from a wall, which you didn't mean to.
Not that, but like, see when there's like, oh, there's a eagle point I need to sink, right?
Yeah.
You look up at it and like, how the fuck did I get up there? Whereas in seeing the modern games, it's just like, I'll
you hold forwards. Yeah, you run
basically
up the wall.
you just run up the wall. Like you can climb any fucking surface. Like it doesn't matter. You can climb whatever, even if it's a sheer cliff face. You can fucking climb it.
You had to look for handholds and stuff. And cracks.
Yeah, you had to actually look for handholds, and like sometimes you would have to jump onto a neighbouring building and jump over to it a wee bit, and stuff like that. Like I like that because that's more realistic than what they do now.
Yeah.
But it is annoying when you're like when he's trying to jump and he's like, no, I can't jump up there, and he just sort of runs up the wall and falls back down. You know, like, right. And he never in this game he never like grabs onto like a nearby thing, because like you'll run up. And there's like a pole sticking out there, but you run up, and he doesn't stick his hand out and grab it, which would be the sensible thing to do, but he doesn't do that. But yeah, it's a good game. I'm looking forward to being able to say that I've beaten every Assassin's Creed mainline game. Do you think after I've done that I should go and complete all of the other ones?
No, because you'll never play Assassin's Creed. You'll never play Assassin's Creed Discovery in the DS. You'll never play that. Altair's Chronicles and PSP.
Why not? Why?
Because I know you. Because I know you. That's why. You'll never play like Assassin's Creed 2.
I beat Knack. I can go and play these games.
I don't think you will. Because you'd have to acquire a DS to do this.
I have a 2DS
and a PSP.
I mean, I could buy a PSP.
You won't. Altair's Chronicles is probably the best out of them because it's like a PSP version. It was actually some achievement back then for the PSP to run it, because it's basically like there's a point I think where he goes to Spain and you don't see it in Assassin's Creed 1. He just goes and then it's like 7 minutes later and it's like he's just back. But this kind of plays the part. Or is it Spain he goes to? Whatever. There's a section of his life that's one of the memories, and that's the PSP game. I think Bloodlines Discoveries, Ezio's one where he goes to Spain on the DS. Bloodlines is Assassin's Creed Altair. I really liked Altair. I didn't take to Ezio straight away. I know a lot of folk, because I played them in order, and a lot of people's first game was Assassin's Creed 2. The best thing is, I didn't get it day one, obviously. I didn't know about the game. But when I played it, it was like Assassin's Creed 2 was out not long after. And
Same for me, yeah.
I didn't enjoy Assassin's Creed 2 as much. Brotherhood I did, because I like the... and you could get your crew. I always like the games where you can recruit. Like, I like the Rooks, because I like walking past and they'd be like, "Oi, what are you doing here?" And you just be like... and the guy, you'd be like, "Boys!" And the boys jump down and knock them out. But yeah, I'm planning on playing Valhalla. I know you said you didn't like it, but from what I hear, you liked it better than Odyssey. From what you've said about both.
Yeah, yes and no. I like the world more than Odyssey, but I didn't like the character as much.
Yeah.
Like Cassandra was cooler than Ivor.
Yeah, I'm playing Odyssey as Cassandra because she's the canon character. That's what they've said. Cassandra's canon, and it makes more sense. Like the guy plays a better villain. Like I've seen videos of the guy as the good guy, and it's like he doesn't work as the good guy. This actor, so Cassandra is. But in this one, I don't know. It says you can swap at any point as well. So I don't. I just see male. I see a Viking. I know there was female Vikings and Lagathons.
I think the way that they kind of explain it from the Assassin's Creed lore is
DNA or something.
They couldn't tell whether she or he was male or female, basically.
This is what they're going to do going forwards, by the way.
Probably, yeah.
And do you know what we keep forgetting about? We're going to get an Assassin's Creed game this year. We are.
It's like the Infinity one or whatever.
I don't know if it'll be that. It could just be a remake, because I don't think that's going to be ready. But you know what happens during March? We usually get the leaks. Like, oops, where did these come from?
They'll probably fucking remake Assassin's Creed 1 then.
100%. That's what's going to happen. Just as you're at the end, and you're going to be like, nah.
I'm like, nah, I'll just finish this
Because there was the talk of Assassin's Creed 1 remake, and you promised it would come along with Valhalla, and it didn't.
Didn't come.
It's the only one that's really going to get a remake. I know they've said that the Ezio Trilogy has been listed for Switch this year, which makes sense. Yeah. I wouldn't
Switch
buy
gets
it again.
ports of all the old shit. Like,
why not?
Every time.
Like, honestly. Just bring all the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 catalogue to Switch at this point. That's what I would do.
Yep. It's basically all the games that they couldn't put on the Wii and didn't put on the Wii U because it didn't sell.
Yep.
That's it. That's what they're doing.
Yep.
But yeah, I did play one other game, which was also a Ubisoft game, which was a brand new game that came out on the 20th, and it came straight to Game Pass day one. This is Rainbow Six Extraction, formerly known as Rainbow Six Quarantine.
Right. And I'm glad you didn't call it Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, because my first opinion of this was, what the fuck is Tom Clancy about this? There's nothing. This is not a Tom Clancy game. It's not even Rainbow Six. They could have called this fucking anything. But anyway, they've used the brand name. This was a bonus mode in Rainbow Six for like Halloween, where you had to fight aliens in like a horde mode. I played the VR training missions, and I'm like, is this it? And I got to the end, and it's like, yeah, like, shoot the eggs. Do you know what was better? And I only played a small bit of it, was the aliens game. The horde game. I'm sick of horde games, same as I don't like survival games, but
that game was better, yeah.
The aliens Firebreak or whatever it was called, or
Fire Team.
This is not good. I mean, see, for a horde game, you need to move fast. You don't want tactics in the middle of like aliens screaming and running through walls at you. And this is basically Rainbow Six mechanics, which works for Rainbow Six when it's team v team and you're sneaking through levels. But see, when it's the team against aliens running at you and the bosses and shit like that, and you don't need to. Oh, you have to slowly pull the guy out of the alien goop and then shoot some things and kill off some aliens, then go back and pull them a wee bit more. And it's like, this is not fun. Who fucking thought of this? Like, what? It's 46 gig as well. This could have been like a permanent game mode in Rainbow Six, because that game's still being supported. There was no need for this to be a separate title whatsoever. I think this is going to die very, very quickly.
Yep. And like Aliens Fireteam Elite didn't do very well either. But like I played a little bit of that, and that game was far more fun. It was made by the guys that made World War Z.
Yeah, because
so they had the horde. They had the horde mechanic down. You're playing as like just generic human guys shooting a bunch of aliens, and the aliens look cool. They don't always react very well. But
it's faster paced. It's not a tactic shooter.
Paced.
This isn't a FPS action game. Rainbow Six isn't first person action. It's first person strategy, tactical. Plan out your moves. So you can't throw that in the middle of a horde game. You can't. It needs to be fast moving, empty your clip, move on. It can't be, oh, you've no bullets left, you should have thought about that. It's like, there's an alien fucking threat. Why are you limiting my bullets in this? Stop.
The thing that I disliked about it the most, like I played a few levels of this with Mark and Ian, so we're playing like 3 players like you're meant to. It's basically designed as a 3-player game.
Yep.
So we went in and played their campaign bits, and problem with it is every time one of you guys dies, he's captured, and then that locks you out of being able to play.
Yep.
So that's no fun for the person who's sitting there
and you have to replay the mission and rescue your teammate if you want him back alive.
Yeah, and the problem is, if your guys all die, then you end up, I'm locked out of X character, Mark's locked out of X character, Ian's locked out of X character.
Who made that decision?
Yeah, by the time, eventually, if you're learning the game or not, if you're getting to grips with it, you're going to end up losing all your characters. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't have any motivation to go and rescue this guy, because he's just a generic avatar guy that has one specific power.
Yeah.
I'm like, do I care about rescuing him? Not really. Move on. So, and I didn't like the mechanics. I don't think the horde side of it worked at all. It was either way too easy or just slightly too hard.
Yeah.
But it wasn't fun at all. I don't have any fun in it whatsoever.
Nope.
And that's real bad for a game like this. If you're at all interested in this game, in that type of game, play Aliens instead. Aliens is much more fun. Or play Back 4 Blood. Though it's basically a mishmash of those two games. Both those games are far, far fucking better than this one.
Oh, both those games are designed to be action shooters, which is needed for this type of game. This is based around tactical shooting, so the guns aren't arcadey fun. It's meant to be arcadey fun.
Yeah, even at one point they make you fucking put a drone in.
I
Like,
know.
use your drone to
A
scout the
drone.
area.
A
You're like,
drone.
no, no. Like that 100% works in Rainbow Six when you're going against another team who are like
Yes.
setting up obstacles and whatnot. Like,
So you
fine,
can mark
you're
things. But
pinpointing.
this with
Yeah, you're
aliens that run
pinpointing where
through
the
walls, there's
terrorists
no
are, where the
point.
bombs. So this is a bad game. They should never have made this game. Get in the fucking sea.
What I said is, it's obviously been a popular mode in Rainbow Six, and somebody's pitched it, and they've went, yeah, do it. But why not just make it a permanent mode in Rainbow Six?
Yep.
There was no point bringing
Because
this out as a full price title.
money. They thought they could make money off it.
Throw Tom Clancy Rainbow Six on. This is not a Tom Clancy game. It's an embarrassment to the name. Shouldn't even be called Rainbow Six, which is one of his strongest franchises. It's just awful that they've done this. Like,
Yeah. Like, I like Rainbow Six Siege. It's a cool game. It's well made.
because
And
it's designed
really
around tactical shooting and being careful and limiting your bullets and shots. But taking that system and then just going, yeah, there's aliens now that run through walls that look like prototypes from Stranger Things, and there's egg things that look like a throwback from the PS3 era. Like, why? Like, I don't care about tagging them. Like, how can I miss them? It's a big fucking pulsating thing in a wall. Why do I need to remember where it is? It's in the middle of the fucking building. Look, you can see it from here. It's glowing red. Why do I need to mark it? And then if you've activated it and you've even killed the aliens, I can't tag it because it's annoyed with you now. What?
Yep. It's a dumb fucking game. Like, I deleted it
Bad.
after like.
Yeah, because
half
what
an
was
hour,
it?
maybe.
On the
And I
group chat,
wanted
Davis had said something like, who's played it? And I say, who's installed it? I says, installed it, played it, deleted it. And you and Fraser were like, installed it. And I says, it's shite. And then no one said anything. And then you went, Ali's right. And Andy seldom agrees with me on show or in real life. But that was... And Fraser's not speaking about it like it's the second coming of Jesus, so you know he's not liked it either.
It's definitely shite.
Really bad game. I had more fun in... There was a dinosaur game that was a survival game, and I didn't like that, with Michael and Fraser. It was on Game Pass as well, and it was a horde mode dinosaur game.
Ark? No, not
No,
Ark.
no, it
Oh
wasn't.
no, I remember you talking about this game. Yeah,
And
I can't remember what it's called.
it was better because... It was better simply because the guns and everything was designed around arcade movements, not this small, not even worth it jump, like slowly pulling yourself up and stuff because you're a tactical soldier. It's like, these aliens don't give a shit about your stealth. You've just said they can run through fucking walls. Like, and then it said sneak up on them. I'm doing the sneaky mechanic, and it just turns around and goes, there you are.
Yeah.
And it's like, but you just, this was in the tutorial where they're meant to not turn round at all. Like, in every game I've played where it's demonstrating stealth kills, the guy will not turn round. Like, you can make as much noise, you can even run in those sections. He's designed to show you how to do that takedown. When they do it in this game, it's you and the alien, you sneak up behind it and it turns round. It's like, there you are, sucker. I'm like, what? I didn't put it in ultra hard. Like, the guy shouldn't turn round. I've crept all the way. It took me 30 seconds to slowly shuffle up behind you, and I was about to stab, and he just went, huh?
Do you know what's also super annoying with this game? Like, it's a slow-paced game anyway for your guys, but the other guys, the enemies are fast. But see, if you kill an enemy, it like leaves all goop on the floor. That makes you go even fucking slower.
Yep.
So annoying. I hated it. Terrible
That's
game.
not to take away from Rainbow Six. Like, I haven't played much of Siege, but Rainbow Six, for that type of game, obviously it's successful, it does well. It's fun to play for... I didn't enjoy it much. I preferred the Rainbow Six with campaigns, and this kind of just did some, like, tutorial missions at the start, and there wasn't really a campaign. But it's done well, but... This is just, it doesn't fit. They should have changed the mechanics up or gave different guns, like made it more fun. Like, there's nothing fun about it. It doesn't say fun. And horde mode games have to have some element of fun, be it you're shooting dinosaurs, woo, that's fun. Okay, it's the aliens from the movie Alien, or even the Predator hunting grounds. Oh, you've got to go and, it's not a horde game really. That's the wrong example. That's more like the slasher games like Friday and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Gears of War, yeah, it makes sense because the horde's coming up and you have to wipe them all out. But you've got arcade guns with fucking chainsaws. Seeing this, it's like, choose your sniper rifle carefully and plant your drones and send up your flare. What? No, just, it's meant to be brrr, oh shit, put the barricade down, brrr, shoot. That's horde mode games. This doesn't work. Move on. We will never speak about this on the show again unless there's some crazy news story.
Rainbow Six Siege I do like, and I will say that it's a good fun game, but this version of it, no, very bad.
So we'll move on to the news stories then. There was actually two. So before we move on to the main one with Respawn and EA, The Rock tweeted something interesting today. Now, this isn't a man who's unfamiliar with video game franchises, Andy. As you know, he's done the Rampage movie. He'd done the classic Doom movie. he said that he's working on one of the most badass video game franchises of all time, and that he's also going to be bringing it to. No, he said he's going to be bringing one of the most badass video game franchises of all time to the big screen. He says he's been playing it for years and he can't wait to show you. A further statement says that he's also planning on making an announcement later in the year and he can't wait for you all to be excited for it. So there's some options. We had some fun with it. We had some fun with what it was going to be. I think the most obvious one's going to be Call of Duty. I know you said Fortnite, but Call of Duty makes sense. You've got a Call of Duty movie sitting in limbo there. You've got a basic script. You're like, how do we sell it? Get The Rock on board.
Yep.
Dude bros that love Call of Duty, you put The Rock in that movie, they're all going day one to see that. Tickets will sell it.
You're 100% right. Yep.
So that's what it is. And the reason I went to Call of Duty over the likes of people saying God of War, which potentially The Rock could be in down the line. The Rock's got more of a relationship with Xbox. He helped launch the Series X. He helped launch the original Xbox. And I just think it's going to be Call of Duty, because that will be announced and released within a year of its announcement. God of War is a film that needs to take time to do it justice, because it needs a story and stuff like that, in my opinion. So my guess, do you have any guesses, Andy, or do you agree with Call of Duty? It's a no-brainer.
I think it's a no-brainer. It's Call of Duty. Like, the only reason I said Fortnite is because The Rock is in Fortnite.
Yeah, and they are doing a Fortnite movie.
And they can do a Fortnite movie. I don't know whether it's animated or like live action or what.
It'll be an animated movie, but they are doing one.
Yeah, so he could be in that. It sounds to me like he's talking about a live action movie though, and Call of Duty makes sense. I don't know that I've ever heard or seen them talking about Call of Duty, but I'm quite sure that he plays it.
He might not. He might just be saying it to hype the movie. He might just be The Rock plays Call of Duty. He's probably playing Call of Duty on his camper or something. You know,
because he definitely. He definitely does play somebody.
Yeah, because there's pictures of The Rock all through the years. Like, he'd been playing a Sega Dreamcast in a limo when he showed up for every event. Somebody posted the funniest one, and they went, "Guys, you're never going to believe it." And this is the video game that he's talking about, and it was WWE 2K20 where The Rock was on the cover. He's like, "This is the one he's doing."
That would be funny.
But no, do you know my suggestion? And I did say it jokingly, but The Rock seems to love films where he can wear khaki shorts and be in the jungle. He's done several of them. He done Welcome to the Jungle years ago. He's done 2 Jumanjis now. I'm pretty sure Rampage, most of it, he was in khakis in the jungle.
Wasn't he in a movie called Jungle Cruise as well?
Jungle Cruise as well, right? So that's like 5 films. What if it's Pitfall?
Pitfall, yeah.
I would rather that than watch Baby Nathan Drake in Uncharted.
It's not really a badass like game, is it? Pitfall?
No, I think it's got to be Call of Duty, because my thinking with Call of Duty, I was thinking about this the other night. Right, the Call of Duty movie's been confirmed, it's in development. How do you sell Call of Duty movie? It's not the story. The story is just going to be a team of Marines that you get to know. So the only way to sell it is you cast the biggest name you can. Microsoft now have the money and the connections to The Rock to go, buddy, do you want to join this movie? We're going to pay you. Many zeros is enough. The Rock, Call of Duty. Like, honestly, I'm interested to see that film. I'm not lying. I'm a sucker. The Rock's not the best actor in the world, but I'm a sucker for like The Rock. I've loved him since he was in wrestling. So if you say,
I like him in movies. He's good,
and he would carry that film fine. The Rock is a commando, like leading the team. Let's do this shit. Like one-liners. He's your stereotypical out of the 90s action man, and John Cena's becoming the same. So what they should absolutely do, have The Rock and John Cena in that movie. If you can get both of them, every single Call of Duty player will want to see that. I buy it every year, and that's the only game I play. Call of Duty guys will go and see that movie, even if you don't have John Cena. But imagine you had The Rock and John Cena in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I need John Cena. I don't like John Cena, but
you might not like him, but he would make sense as well. He's doing better at acting.
It would make sense.
His first movie was called The Marine, where he wasn't terrible for his first movie. He played a Marine that was kind of a Die Hard style film. Yeah, absolutely, I would watch that. But I can 100%. I think The Rock Call of Duty makes sense, because then you can have 4 or 5 other kind of semi-known actors as the rest of the team. No one gives a shit. 2 of them are going to die anyway in the film in heartbreaking scenes, and then The Rock's going to get shot at the end, and he's going to come through by blasting all the bad guys. That's it. That's what you need. So yeah, I could see.
What era do you think they set that movie in?
Modern Warfare, 100%. There's not a question. It's not Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
Even if he's like Price, if he's like the new Price, they'll do Call of Duty. They'll do Modern Warfare. Has to be. I can't see they're not going to, unless the other option is they do Black Ops, because it's popular. They do Vietnam Black Ops, where it's kind of.
Yeah, I think they'll do Modern Warfare.
I think they will do Modern Warfare, and it'll be a by the books action film with big explosions. I've not looked this up, but I'm hazarding a guess Michael Bay will be involved in this.
Probably.
If I was making a Call of Duty movie, it would be Michael Bay and The Rock I would go to.
Pointless helicopters, yeah, fine.
Yeah. Because I can't remember who said Gears of War, but it's like more likely Batista that's going to announce Gears of War, because he's Marcus.
Yeah.
Gears of War's coming as far as I know. And
Cool.
if they don't cast Batista, they've done a wrong thing. Like everybody's he's Marcus in Gears 5. You can change the skin to play as Batista. Yeah, and you still need to get Terry Crews as Coltrane for that, 100%.
Yeah, 100% agree.
But yeah, so that was the Rock's news. But then EA made some interesting things that we kind of knew the main story. The main story is that Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 3. Battlefront. Is it Battlefield?
Battlefront. Star Wars.
Yeah. Battlefront 3 is dead in the water. It's no more. It's canned.
Yep.
And every Star Wars game that they're allowed to make, because EA lost the exclusivity, as you remember,
Yep.
they've moved it to the best studio they've got in my mind, apart from BioWare, is Respawn. Respawn's taken over the duties. So they're making 3 games, Andy.
Oh, okay.
They're making a sequel to Jedi Fallen Order that was a no-brainer. Yep. I'm guessing it's not even started development, or they would have showed a title. Which was the rumour that this was going to happen. Remember, they said they were going to release it. So a sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, it's a no-brainer, so well. They're also working on a first-person shooter. It could be a commando game where you play stormtroopers, whatever, great. And they're also working on a strategy game.
Alright. Weird for Respawn, though.
It's weird for Respawn, but there's more to this news story. So, Peter Hirschman, previously, he was the co-creator of Medal of Honor, is working in the first-person shooter. Makes sense. Okay. He also previously worked on, not the new ones, but the original Battlefront games and The Force Unleashed. And his most recent game was the VR title Medal of Honor. You know, the sneaky release they did of Medal of Honor? He did
I heard that was good, I never played it.
Their strategy game is developed not through Respawn, but through a production collaboration, Andy, with Bit Reactor, which is a new studio formed by the veterans of XCOM and Civilization.
Alright, cool.
So that's going to end up absolutely fine. I don't know what their other one's going to be. The Jedi one, I think that's just Respawn's main team, but the first-person shooter being made by... he was a LucasArts vet and he co-created Medal of Honor doing a first-person shooter. Like, on paper, that sounds good. And then getting XCOM and Civ guys to do a strategy Star Wars game. Yeah, all sounds good. I'm disappointed that Battlefront 3 is not getting made. We're never going to get Battlefront 3. We're never going to get it, because this happened the last time. Quantic Dream, however, is still moving ahead with their narrative game called Star Wars Eclipse.
I'm more interested in that.
I'm interested in them all. I really am. EA's relationship is still continuing. Even though their previous deal expired. But they're still being allowed to make some games. I think what they said is, you've messed a lot of these up, guys. You can't make them all. So... let's discuss what studios you do have and what they can make. And I think because Disney didn't really know what they were doing at first, EA they were the monopoly at the time. They were the Disney of video games. They were like, yeah, we've got the license for everything, so let's just do Star Wars as well. Well, all the sports anyway. And they went, yeah, that's cool. Like you did, like Mass Effect and stuff. Probably going to do a good job. And EA just went.
Battlefield was doing well at the time.
Yeah. So they just yeah, you do it, and then. EA started producing shit, and then they didn't release anything. They didn't use BioWare for anything. They just brought out Battlefront 1, which was really good. And then Battlefront 2 came out, and it was like, you filled it with what did you do? So you lost half your audience right there. Firstly, you also shot yourself in the foot by announcing a sale 2 months after it came out, remember? Because the director of the game said, yeah, we're planning putting the game for a special price when the movie releases. And I cancelled my pre-order at that point. And I bought it 20 quid cheaper 2 months later, and I think a lot of people did that. Don't announce a sale before your game's out. And then And then you fill it with microtransactions, so folk get pissed off and you're like, okay, we'll pull back in that. It took them so long to do it that by the time it was actually good, everyone had gave up on it. So they wasted their opportunity twice, and Disney went, enough's enough, our deal's done. And they're rich enough to buy themselves out that deal, which they probably had to do, but then I guess they got it cheaper by agreeing to let EA make some of these games. They did well with Jedi Fallen Order. It was a good first game. I consider that the Assassin's Creed 1 of that series, because they're going to do
better. Totally.
Some things in it worked. Definitely was a Soulsborne game. But yeah, I'm just 6, 7, 8. 3 days time the new Pokemon's out.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that till right now. What's that, Friday? Is it Thursday, Friday?
Yeah, Friday, yeah. I've no interest until I hear what you say about it.
This is true. This could be a game that I end up just going, You know what I'm like with you'll know with the Pokemon game if I play it the first day and put it away, because even though I don't actually, contrary to popular belief, buy every Pokemon game, I do play a lot of them, and they're all the same. They're all the same. So I'm like, I'm bored of this already. I don't like the starters. You're just making me go to another gym. It's the same sort of thing, rinse and repeat. This is the first one that generally looks different, so I am interested in playing this one. But you'll know fine well if I'm like, yes, I'm not playing it already. But yeah, I'm interested in these new EA games. Other news as well, Life is Strange Remastered gets a first official gameplay. It's out on the 1st of February. Blizzard
yeah,
is
I already
also...
played.
Yeah,
Played all those, right? There's a heavy rumour though that's going to Plus, so don't buy it if you're planning to buy it.
I wasn't. Blizzard reveals it's making a brand new survival game for PC and console with a new IP and universe. It's fine.
Okay.
We talked about Activision Xbox, obviously. Battlefield 2042 has already dropped out the top 50 most played Xbox games. It's already dropped out. Wow.
Game Pass, you think? How long before that goes to Game Pass?
I think it's going to go free to play. There was already rumours this week and whispers of it going free to play. I think it could end up on EA Access or EA Play, what it's called now, pretty soon, just to get players back onto it. Because I would try it again if it came to Access. I don't expect it to be good because everything I've heard is like just further complaints from what we had on it. You had Uncharted news, Andy. So Uncharted's PS5 remasters will let players transfer save data and trophies, and it's only £10 to upgrade at launch, which isn't a bad deal. I don't mind paying it for PlayStation. However, if this was the trilogy, I would have been, oh cool, they've actually redone the trilogy. That's awesome. I'll play it because obviously I haven't played 2 and 3. No, they're just doing 4 and Lost Legacy. Not really.
Lost Legacy. There's a big caveat to that as well, because you cannot do the upgrade if you own Uncharted 4 through PlayStation Plus.
Oh, I don't. I bought it day one. It's a great game if you've not.
Oh no, but like, a lot of people did get it like through Plus,
which is annoying, isn't it? Why would you not just
totally
because you didn't make any money off of that, right? So why not go? We can make a tenner by letting everybody have it. Like,
yeah, like people would do it 100%. Like they want you to, like, because I can go and buy a second-hand copy of it for like a $5 and then do the upgrade that way. And like you're not getting any more money off me from that.
And that's what most people would do.
Yeah, I'm just giving money to someone else. Like, fine.
So yeah,
I won't do that though, because I already beat both those games. It's not going to contribute towards my 24 games. Don't trust.
We also finally got a date for Lego Star Wars.
Oh my god, yeah. It actually looks alright, to be fair. I watched the trailer. Like, I might be interested in trying it at some point.
Depends. I'm not too fussed. Like, a developer actually answered me because I was saying, like, I genuinely don't understand why this took so long. Some folk took that going, oh, video games are hard to make. I know they're hard to make. I wasn't commenting. I was just like, I don't understand because the framework was there. And they're like, well, framework isn't the same. I'm like, but they used to pump them out like twice a year. So it must have been easier than you think to do these Lego games because they already had the mechanics all there.
I think from watching that trailer, they have completely changed the mechanics.
No, they have.
Entirely.
I agree. And that's what the guy said. They'd been working in the same engine for years. And it wasn't... The Force Awakens I mentioned because it had new things in it. And they're like, but even that engine was struggling because it was just an adaptation of a previous one. I'm like, fair enough. I didn't realise this. I don't need all these comments saying, oh, dude, video games are hard to make. I know they're hard to make. I didn't say... I even said I'm not a developer in this original statement, but I don't understand why this is taking so long. And then I was talking to someone else and I says... And one of the developers of Psychonauts 2 started talking to me, and I'm like, dude, that's why I said I wasn't a developer. What I'm saying is, this would have made much more money if they'd managed to just get it out and release it alongside the Blu-rays of Rise of Skywalker, which was like 2 years ago now. So I think they missed the hype train. I think it's not going to sell as well.
Maybe, but I mean, there's not a whole lot out at the moment, so.
What, Pokemon's out?
Yeah, but this is a wee bit past that. By the time
Elden
it comes
Ring.
out. Yeah, but it's a different audience.
Oh, brand new news, breaking news while we're live by Jason Schreier, Bloomberg.
Oh, God.
Activision is now committed to releasing at least, this is official, at least the next 3 Call of Duty games on PlayStation.
Okay.
So that's 2024.
Sure.
Obviously, this was the thing. Obviously, they were. It was never going to be. It's going to be exclusive.
You know what? It's going to be exclusive sooner or later. I don't give a fuck because I'm going to get it free on Game Pass.
Yeah.
On Xbox.
Yeah, so there's never going to be a worry for me about Call of Duty anymore. Like, okay, I would hazard a guess that if they were smart, they would get this year's free on Game Pass to kind of build the hype. Because next year's is going to be free, 100%. Next year's is going to be free, and by next year we'll have all of the Call of Duties. But I would be surprised if Call of Duty this year wasn't on Game Pass. Because most people...
I would be very surprised, yeah.
The general public will assume it's on Game Pass. Because everybody's seen this news. And I've had people that aren't into it as much going, what does this mean? And I've told them that it might not be on PlayStation at some point. And a lot of these people are like, oh, I take it I'll get it free this year. And I'm like, I can't say yes. I'm not an insider, but I know more than a lot of people. Well, I don't know more. I keep on top of things like you do. And like I was like, I don't know, but if the general public are thinking it is, it would be a smart move for Microsoft just to go make it Game Pass. Next year it's going to be ours anyway, so...
I'm 99% sure it'll be on Game Pass this year.
I would say 90 for me. I would say 90% sure. I'm giving myself that 10% chance to be wrong. It would make sense. It would 100%. It would just be a look. Here you go, guys. It's free. Here's the reason, and it would be a temptation for the PlayStation owners to see. Look, it's going to be free on Game Pass.
Series S.
You're going to have to pay £70 just for your standard version on PlayStation. Up to you.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, £70 a good chunk of a Series S.
Yeah. Yep.
Like,
100%.
you trade your PlayStation 4 in, because a lot of them are still on PlayStation 4, trade that in, £70, you're going to get at least a month's free Game Pass. Do it.
Faster load times. I mean, they've not announced the Call of Duty for this year yet. What if it doesn't come to PS4? What if it only is PS5 and Series? We could do that.
I think they'll annoy a lot of people doing that, but I think eventually it's not going to be last gen. Although, do you remember back in the day? I know video game development's hard now, but like back in the day, it was even worse because all these scandals were going on that we now know about, and it's like they used to make different versions of games, like for the last gen. Like you would get a Wii version, you would get a PS3 version, and it would be a completely different game. Like look at even Assassin's Creed. Like, what happened to that? Like yeah, we've got an expansive, never-ending world in Xbox. Like, but just make the next gen version as good as you can. Like they used to cut the losses quicker. Like Assassin's Creed Rogue came out and it was a fine game. And okay, you need to say what you like about it, but it was at least the next gen version and it made it worthwhile. But now they're just... See, Gran Turismo's rumoured delay as well. That's what I want to talk about lastly before we go.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
Well, they've delayed they had an announcement sort of showcase thing going on. And they've delayed it, and someone pointed out the last time this happened was like Horizon when it was getting its first delay. And do you know what I blame? The PS4 version. 100% I blame the PS4 version. Because they don't want another Cyberpunk. Look at Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk's problem was last gen versions. It didn't have that much of an... See if they only put it in 1X Pro and that was it. 1X and Pro. Why can't they do that anymore? Look at all the games that came out, it was like 32X only. Or like N64 needs expansion pack.
Yeah.
Like, why couldn't you say, okay, you need a better machine? It's like you buy a PC game, oh, it won't work in my computer, you accept it. So why couldn't they just say to console owners, look, the Pro's affordable, it's been out for 2 years, or the 1X has been out for like 2 years now. Sorry, Cyberpunk's not going to work on your standard Xbox. People would have just had to accept it. There would have been less fuss with that than there is currently with Cyberpunk. And I mean, you've got the QA lead of Cyberpunk leaving as well, was one of the news stories this year. And it's like, he's obviously playing this game going, this still isn't fucking ready and you're due to drop the next gen update in the first quarter of this year. That was their plan.
Update, when that comes, will make it fine.
I don't.
Like, I'll play it again once the next gen update
I'll play it again, and at that point, I don't care what it looks like, I'll stick to it, because I didn't have as many problems.
Yeah.
I generally didn't see a big issue with it. I took it for what it was. I enjoyed the world. I miss Jackie. Rest in peace, brother. But, like, the game was fine. Like, add more Jackie, and I'll like it even more. Jackie edition's what we need. But Jackie, the things he did, like when you remember that motorbike ride that you sent me, that was hilarious. Just such a character, Jackie. I think I'd probably restart the game. I know I put a chunk of time into it, but I'd probably start from the beginning rather than loading. And knowing CD Projekt Red at the moment, my save probably won't work in the next gen version anyway. What I said to my mate the other day was, you need to get the Cyberpunk next gen update, patch it all year, update it all year, and then just go, we're done. We've cancelled DLC because we need to work in future products. Then go fucking silent for 6 months. We don't want to hear from you till June next year, and then put a Witcher 4 logo out. Say nothing. Just put a Witcher 4 logo out. Give 6 months of grace. Witcher 4 logo, nothing. Then another 6 months, show a fucking render of Ciri or whoever the main character is in Witcher 4. Then nothing. And then the next year, show off some CGI footage 6 months later, and then slowly start giving us gameplay once it's fucking ready to show. And then the year after that, I'm talking 3 years from now, start giving hints of when The Witcher might come out. And at the end of that year, I'm talking almost 4 years from now, Witcher 4 comes out and you're all forgiven. But you need to shut the fuck up after that. You can't keep doing those yellow hard to read. Who the fuck's making those roadmaps? Like, that's Donald Trump tactics. We don't really want you to see what's going on here, but, you know, bad news again, guys. They can't delay this next gen patch. They have to just get it the fuck out. And if something's wrong with it, patch it and patch it and patch it and patch it. Ignore what the fans are saying for their requests. Ignore what you wanted the game to do, because you're never going to be able to add to it now. It is what it is. Just make it look better. Change the AI so it's not crazy. But it's still... People forget, this is an open world game with a giant city, drivable cars, and a full desert area outside of it. Like, it's a big open world game. It's going to have some bugs. It's never going to be perfect. So yeah, just do that, and then do you agree with that? Just go fucking radio silent, and then drop a Witcher 4 logo. Drop a Witcher 4 logo next year. That's the only way to get public favour back. Don't keep promising DLCs for this. Don't even consider adding story to it. If you're working on it and you're listening to this CD Projekt Red, stop working on them. Make the next gen look pretty. Make the mechanics function. Not that I had a problem with it, but just do that. And as long as it's a solid medium game, you've wasted enough money on it already and lost enough money on it. Just do that and then go silent. Witcher 4 and everyone will forgive you. I guarantee it. But you can't fuck up the Witcher 4 or you're gone. But anyway, that's basically all we've been playing and most of the news stories that we've seen. It was interesting. What have you been playing? What have you seen that's interesting? Who do you think Microsoft are going to grace with the remaster, the Master Chief Collection still? Do you think it's going to be Gears, Fable, or someone else? Let us know. Like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends, and we will see you here again next